Okay, Jesse looking pretty stacked. Go ahead and swing that hammer, baby. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and we are back with another reaction to The Last of Us. We are now on season 2, episode 3. So the last episode was the gut-wrenching episode that those of us who've watched the playthrough or played the game knew was coming. And yeah, I know that there was a lot of discussion on the internets about whether or not the show was going to go there, but I felt pretty certain they would. And I'm kind of glad they got it out of the way, to be honest, because I think if they had dragged it out a bit more, it just would have made it even worse for us. And yeah, it was rough the first time I saw it, and it definitely didn't get any easier watching it this time either. So yeah, Joel is gone, unfortunately. Ellie saw it happen, and she knows exactly who did it. And also back in Jacksonville, they experienced their first horde attack, to my knowledge. And they did, for the most part, survive, but there's a lot of devastation and damage there too. So it's going to be a double whammy for Ellie when she gets back there and realizes that, her home has been disturbed. But also for Tommy, when he finds out that he lost his brother, that's going to be, again, after all, losing all these people as well. It's just going to be a very rough time. So I feel like this is going to be a bit of a heavy episode, at least for the first half. But yeah, I know it's coming, and that part is a little bit more tantalizing, shall we say, to look forward to. So without further ado, let's jump into the episode. But just before I do, a reminder that if you'd like to be in the know when I drop episodes, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And also, if you're interested in watching an uncut version of this reaction, you can head over to my Patreon, where it'll be available to watch right now. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode. Oh, they're cleaning his... I think Ellie would want the watch. He's probably one of the few people who knows what that watch means too, actually. Cleaning your brother's body is kind of crazy, guys. I don't know. I don't know how some people do it. We had a friend of the family that lost her son, and she insisted on cleaning the body, and all of us couldn't believe, not believe it, but we just couldn't fathom how she was able to do it, but she wanted to.
Give Sarah my love.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thought, the idea that they're back together. Chest tube, what's going on? Oh, Ellie.
I can give you something.
Wait, did Jackson? Oh, Jackson has a hospital? I didn't know that. So, wow, they destroyed her chest with that kick. Oh, I'm sorry, Ellie, yeah. I feel that. I feel that. Yep, look what you did, Abby. You messed with the wrong one. But yeah, no, I didn't realize they had a functioning hospital, but that makes sense. I guess there's enough people there. But yeah, chest tube. They cracked her ribs then. They don't insert a chest tube unless that person cannot breathe. Yep, gotta get back to work. Gotta get the walls reinforced. Because this, unfortunately, is the perfect time for humans to try to make their way in. 3 months later, okay. Okay, Jesse looking pretty stacked. Go ahead and swing that hammer, baby. Okay. Starting to get it. You know why Dina had to swing that, she had to spin that block a few times.
How are you doing, Ellie?
Give me a moment.
Fine.
It's really complicated because, feelings.
I was like, wow, this is Joel all over again.
I miss him. He meant a lot to me. So, yeah, upset and sad.
How about raging with fury?
If you two got into it at the dance, was that the last time you spoke to him?
Yep.
And I should have talked to him. But I didn't.
Do you regret that?
Yeah, of course. But
In my last moment with Joel, he said he wronged you. Maybe bad.
He said he protected you.
He said, I saved her.
he saved me a lot of times.
Yeah, I would think so.
Man, I wish I could have let him off the hook for whatever it was he was talking about.
Wow, Ellie, you're not good at acting.
I'll
This.
let myself off.
Everyone were as healthy as you. What would I do for weed and booze?
I wouldn't worry, Gail. There's still a lot of fucked up people in this town.
Yeah.
Right here. She's not ready to talk, so walls are firmly up. And it's such a mask. She's like, yeah, I'm fine. Oh, this is a good camera shot. Oh, look, there goes the fake smile. And here comes the rage. I hope the doctor knows that she is deeply angry. Door metaphorical in more ways than one. He was wood carving. Oh, old talents we never knew. Okay, since they found his body. She's gonna smell it. See if there's any of Joel's smell left in there. You can do it, girl. It's okay. There you go. It's actually crazy how much we associate with smell when it comes to memory. And it's the first thing that goes. Can she have a minute? Jeez. It's okay if you're still grieving, Ellie. Come on. How is Dina taking all this? She's probably feeling some type of way.
I know most of their names, and I know where they're from.
How? She must have not been as out as she was.
I knew that if I told you where they were, you'd just start pulling your tubes out and crawling on your hands and knees to get there.
I don't give a fuck.
Well, she does. She's allowed to.
And the only thing you know about them is where they're gonna end up. Maybe let them get there.
Dina's thinking a little clearly, more clearly than you are right now.
I loved him too, you know.
She did. And she was there. Take the damn cookies. Wait, they're not made with the same wheat, are they? This is wheat that's been grown since? Affects people right now.
The girl with the dark hair and the bald one of them's named Nora. I'm not sure which.
The girl with the braid.
Abby.
Yep, that name's gonna be imprinted on her brain forever.
Those groups was the Washington Liberation
Dina
Front
has a wealth of information.
out of Seattle.
WLF.
I wasn't gonna tell anyone before you.
You needed to heal, Ellie. You would have died. That's not any type of revenge.
So now what?
Ideally plan. Okay, let's not just go off half-cocked. Remember, well, you don't know this yet, but Abby took 5 years. Yeah.
If it had been you, Joel would be halfway to Seattle before the sun came up.
He'd be halfway to Seattle to save my life. But when we lost people, no. We would just break him like it was his fault. I saw that time and time again, and
Yeah,
don't
he
talk
knew
to me
you.
like I didn't
He did know
him.
him longer than you did, Ellie.
He was my brother.
Don't act like his grief is not as valid as yours.
And you hold out information on me again, you got rendering detail for a month.
What's rendering? I don't want to know. I know, Ellie. I know it's frustrating, but he's not wrong. Like, he can't just up and leave his wife and kid.
Buried our dead 10 miles south of town. If you want to visit him.
When we're on our way to Seattle.
Okay. Yeah, that's all she's got to hold on to right now. As you can see, she's not properly grieving. The anger, it's what's keeping her awake, or keeping her alive. This Robin Hood and his merry thieves? Who the hell are these people? And why do they all have scars on their cheeks? It's a cult.
No one following, all clear. Keep moving.
You're scarring your children.
Why can't you tell me where we're going?
Because we don't know yet.
Who are these
I
people?
told you the reason we're going.
I don't remember from the game. Were they in the game? Uh-oh. Guess you're not alone anymore. Symbol on their back. I don't think these people were in the game.
So, heard you're on the council now.
Oh wow, they lost a lot of people.
Dude, you were there.
I know that too. Gotta go.
I mean, it kind of has to be this way, Ellie.
And then read them out loud tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, because I'm stupid.
No, because you're
angry,
emotional.
Ellie.
Exactly.
and no one's gonna vote for angry.
Yeah, you need to sound like you have your shit together. No one wants to go out there to die because you're angry and reckless.
Some of you have heard me say it's not the easiest crop to grow, but it is among the fastest. You can plot a graph that shows ease and resources.
Breathe through it, Ellie. Breathe through it. These are important matters.
But he wasn't the only one. I lost my sister that day. A lot of people in here buried family.
She's not wrong.
Now you want to... Well, while they're gone, who's going to be on the wall if raiders come?
Thank you, Rachel.
I mean, all the points were valid.
Forgive and be forgiven. No grudges.
Not what Ellie
No
wants to hear.
revenge. And I'm not even a Christian. Those sons of bitches don't deserve our mercy.
Ooh, not the two of them agreeing now.
Down with you for saying it, Carlisle.
Seth, sit down.
No.
You're not on the list.
No! What the hell are we all talking about here?
Seth.
What, we gotta forgive everybody when they show up and piss
Ellie's
in our
like, you
eye?
know what? I might forgive you for that little comment.
And when they come back, they'll be laughing. And you'll all deserve it.
Oh.
Bunch of goddamn victims.
So Ellie wasn't wrong about the fact that he probably would have said it again. That's a lot of rage. Yeah, okay. Looking straight at Jessie when she grabbed the paper. I hope she actually wrote something. Okay.
I'm asking us to risk more people and resources and at the worst possible time. And I want everyone to know, it's not because I want revenge.
It is.
It's not about revenge.
It is.
And I swear, if someone hurts any of you or the people you love, you can count on me. Not potluck dinners or New Year's Eve dances.
Oh, someone planned those. Well done.
I'll
Ellie.
accept whatever the council decides.
But I'm going anyway.
I am asking you, please, do it for us.
Well done, Ellie. You are a top student. Let them all know you are illiterate. Could have been a poet. Jessie was right. He knows you. It's a good thing you wrote that down.
Yes?
How many people on the council? How many do we need?
No. No. No.
Damn. She's going anyway. Seth of all people. She's going. You know that, right? There's no way. She's sitting here. Oh, she's still just getting drunk every day, huh? And you wonder why Ellie doesn't want to talk to you. Ooh!
I'm supposed to see a shrink myself, to process it all.
Right.
Oh, well, I'm an alcoholic.
Okay.
And I smoke as much weed as I can.
She's honest.
What, you didn't believe her speech?
Did you?
Of course not. She's a liar.
Yeah, she is.
What matters is you're afraid. So, let's talk about it.
Woman's constantly on the clock.
All he was really doing was lashing out.
So you think she might have learned that behavior from
She had
him?
that before him, but he didn't discourage it.
Turns out nurture can only do this much.
Mm-hmm.
The
Nature.
rest is nature.
Yep. Ellie was always a scrapper.
No, I think they were walking side by side from the very start.
Thank you. Yep. They were only together for 5-6 years. Like,
Some people just can't be saved.
it's not so much that, but as J. Cole said, you can't save somebody that don't want to be saved. And Ellie doesn't want to be saved. She wants vengeance, but she believes it's justice at the moment. Dina, or Jessie, or both, because they know you're going to do something stupid.
Please don't try and talk me out of this.
Oh, you think that's why I'm here? So, what's your plan?
Go out there.
Go to Seattle and kill Adam.
Yeah, I was like, pretty simple, if I know her.
Northwest?
That's where Seattle
And is
is.
that all guns, or do you have medical supplies in there? No?
Who needs them? I can heal. Eventually.
Okay, so what am I supposed to do?
Make a plan, Ellie. Oh, goodness. You need Dina.
Winter coats for beds, jackets for blankets, first aid kits, batteries, bear spray.
You would have been
Now,
dead within a
handguns,
month,
so you bring
Ellie. From exposure.
Boots.
Yeah.
Love the Converse. Respect your consistency.
But not adequate.
We meet by the old East Gate, 3 a.m. 3 a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Saved your ass already. You haven't even left.
Yeah, you could have just asked.
Yeah.
Now you do.
Like, she held on to that information to tell you specifically when you were well, Ellie. She's shown you many, many signs, like Joel, that she cares. But I get it. Ellie's been dropped and left and abandoned and, yeah, a lot. So she's got a lot of trust issues. Oh, yeah, Seth. He really had your back in there.
Janine's night watch at the stables. She's sympathetic to our cause.
Our cause?
You're the one that gave the us speech, not me.
In your face, Ellie.
I'd come with you, but I caught some friendly fire on New Year's Day.
You sure it's friendly?
Let's get you going.
I actually think Seth likes her. I think he likes her feistiness, to be true. They're kind of kindred spirits in a twisted type of way. Oh, right. I remember they said that he shot himself. That's right. I think it's worth a handshake, Ellie. He's an idiot, but looks like he's actually trying to make amends. I wasn't sure when he did the first apology, you know, because he would have been heavily prompted to do so, but this he did all on his own. We get to see some time frames, some years. Maybe. Oh. So I'm just wondering if they're actually, because they've never really talked about what year it is or anything. Oh no, they made sure. Sneaky. We see blankety blank 87 to something 29. Okay. All right. Gorgeous shot.
First person you kill.
Jesus, really?
Yeah, fun stories of childhood.
In this world, yeah.
Sorry, Ellie.
Interesting. I shoot a guy and he feels sorry for me.
I mean, you're living with the impact.
Let me know if you see any outcroppings or spots with cover.
Why? That's okay.
Dina is an oracle.
Holy shit, that came
Literally
off
would have
fast.
died without her. Literally would have died without her.
Clearly.
See? Even she knows.
Well, good night.
Good night indeed.
Scale of 1 to 10.
No.
Come on. You've kissed girls before.
Ellie is so obtuse.
Okay, fine, 6.
Fuck you, 6.
Damn.
That's not bad.
Damn.
That sucks.
Bro, come on. You know, even if it's not true, you gotta say 8 and above.
Well, there you have it.
Jeez, Ellie, you don't pick up on cues. Despite being a girl. Sis is definitely dropping some hints here. Talking about kisses. Fell asleep with her butt in your direction.
I think deep inside, that's just how he is.
Maybe.
Why would you hope that?
Because then it's about you.
It's not that. Then it's me.
And we don't want to think about that. Yeah, in the game, we didn't get much on Jesse. I mean, he really wasn't the focal point, but still. That's beautiful. Almost makes me want to go camping, but then I remember the bugs and the cold and the wild animals.
Maybe 10 miles.
Overturned cart. Oh, is that the weird cult people they're about to hit? Oh, no. Was that a head?
What's that symbol?
I don't know. I've never seen
He
it
got
before.
shot multiple times.
Dina.
Yeah, Dina, why are we wandering off on our own when there's a dead body on the damn road? Ew. Why would you follow the stinky smell? Oh, they killed them all. Not the babies too, please. I mean, I know she probably would have grown up with the same cult mentality, but she was a baby. Okay, who's wiping these? Who would do that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just, it's never happened before. I think it was a smell.
It wasn't easy to look at either.
The smell.
If Abby and her crew did this to people, to kids,
We don't know that, but I wouldn't put it past them either. Abby, anyways. The rest of them wouldn't, from what we saw. But Abby and Manny? Again, I gotta give the claps and snaps because a good chunk of this is practical effects. Like, where did they tow all this stuff in from?
Guess there aren't that many wolves.
there's about to be a whole lot less.
Curtis or Viper?
What?
That was just
No.
her.
That was just me. I was trying to sound like a badass.
Gotta find another way in than this road. But yeah, just because you don't see anybody here does not mean there's nobody there. Plenty of places for lookout here. Case in point. Manny!
Yeah, go ahead.
Found him already.
Told me to watch 6 and 8. I want fucking 3 and 5.
Me, do your job. Well, one down. Oh, I thought it was a tank. Or maybe it is. No, it's not. Oh, no, it is. 2 Humvees. Okay. It's no joke. And foot soldiers. Alright. Armor and gear is a bit scattered, so they're not doing perfectly good, but... Oh, girls. I really hope y'all are coming in real quiet without a horse. And why are they marching like this? Interesting. Interesting. Alright, guys. Well... That was episode 3, and wow, where to start? I guess with, oh man, a lot of interesting moments here with Ellie waking up in the, I didn't realize Jacksonville had a hospital. I was lost. I was like, wait, are we doing a flashback to before or when everything first started? But no, Jacksonville has a hospital, which they're really well set up, like truthfully, like they're good to go there. But anyway, and how are they getting medical supplies? Anyway. Easily distracted. But yeah, anyways, we see like that moment where Ellie woke up and just started screaming, like that really hit me. Like, damn, like the trauma, right? It was so fresh for her even then. Like at that point, she'd been there for a while, right? Because you see that they already had the chest tube in and everything. And, you know, as I was saying, I'm no medical professional, but I know I've watched enough medical shows to know that chest tubes are only inserted when there's an issue with the lung, potentially a collapsed lung. And we heard Ellie wheezing a lot in the last episode. Seriously, Manny needs to go down, because that was Manny. Both times he kicked her twice with what looked like steel-toed boots, very hard. Like, Ellie is not that big, folks, right? I don't know how the actual size of the actress, but she's not that big. I'm looking at her, she's maybe 5'5". Maybe weighs about $120, $130. Like, you can't kick someone like that twice in the same spot. Like, he was trying to kill her. I don't care what anyone says, which is I'm glad that Manny's gonna be the first one that she comes up against, because she's gonna remember him. She's definitely gonna remember him. But anyway, poor girl, very severely injured. And she was so messed up about Joel that she didn't even, like, she didn't even register how badly she was hurt because of that. But anyway, thankfully they were able to, they have the resources, right? Because if they didn't have the proper medical people and equipment, she would have died from that for sure. But anyway, it took her 3 months to recover, so that you know how bad it was, how much the damage was for her. And we see that on her checks, and the checks that she needed to do to leave the hospital, they brought in Gail, the only psychotherapist in all of Jacksonville, which I agree with her. That's too much. No wonder the woman is literally self-medicating herself into an early grave. But anyhow, she checks in, and Ellie, it's so interesting seeing this mini session with her and Ellie. It reminded me of the session we saw with Joel and Gail, right? Both of them have this wall. I mean, Joel was a little bit less combative, and I say combative because even though Ellie was being all golly gosh gee whiz, it was confrontational, right? She was basically letting Gail know in no uncertain terms that she was not going to talk about anything, right? She was letting her know, my wall is up. I'm not talking about any of this with you. I just need to say what needs to be said so I can get out of this room, right? And Gail, she didn't really say anything at the time, and it's interesting she didn't say anything to Tommy either, but I know she picked up on the fact, and she probably already knew that Ellie was very angry. Ellie was angry before all this, right? All of her interactions with Joel, all the stuff she was doing with Joel was all screaming that she had unresolved anger towards him. But anyway, yeah, that first moment there with her acting like kind of way that Joel would when he had his walls up and refused to talk, her just doing the whole thing of, okay, what do I need to say? Yeah, no, here's all these scripted things I think I need to say in order to, just to basically shut you up and get me out of here. And Gail let her go, because if Ellie's not ready to talk, she's not ready to talk, right? She can't force her to want to talk. But it's interesting that, I guess because she's also a therapist, she can't really say anything to anyone. I think that she might have potentially talked to some people. Talk to some people in the sense of the way that Tommy later on went to Gail and talked to her about being at the council meeting and noticing her up in the rafters. I wonder if maybe Gail dropped a few things about maybe Ellie leaving not being a good idea. Like, she of course wouldn't disclose what Ellie has said or anything like that, but I can see her very much advising that letting Ellie go on an excursion like this was not going to be a good idea until she actually did start talking to her. But I don't know. That's just a throwaway theory of mine. But anyway, back to Ellie, you know, finally gets out and she goes back to the house. And that was just a really, like, that part, you know, got to me a little bit, because I feel like that's the hardest thing to deal with once you've lost someone, is having to go back in their spaces and seeing things that instantly remind you of them. And for Ellie, like, that house was, for the most part, she had good memories, right? But we don't know, like, they didn't show us where in the 5 years things started to go sour with them. It looks like it was probably closer to the end, of course, but her walking in that house and, you know, seeing things, seeing Joel's unfinished woodworking that he had left there, and, you know, then going into his room. And of course, I'm glad that they, you know, that Tommy gave her the watch. And that was big of Tommy actually too, because that watch is kind of more sentimentally linked for him, because he actually knows the history of the watch, right? But, you know, it shows how much he cares about Ellie and respects that Joel really felt like Ellie was his daughter despite everything. And anyway, the part though when she went and smelled Joel's clothes in the closet, so real, right? Because that's what so many people do, because that sense of smell, like, it will bring your emotions and bring, like, your memories back in such a vivid fashion. Like, it's crazy how much your olfactory will recreate an entire moment for somebody as far as, like, memories. And yeah, you know, that's pretty much all she's got left, right? Because obviously whatever Joel was wearing was probably either, if it was usable, it might have been given to somebody else, or, you know, maybe they got rid of it because it was probably not looking so good after what Abby did. But either way, these are kind of all she's got left of Joel, are these clothes and his gun, of course. But yeah, she's not done grieving the fact that she, of course, broke down at smelling his shirt. And then as soon as Dina came, the wall came up, right? She didn't feel like, and that's the part that's sad, is that no one expects Ellie to be okay at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think she recognizes that. And maybe it's because she's never really had to grieve anyone short of her BFF from way back when. But, you know, nobody expects Ellie to be okay right now, right? 3 months is no time at all, right? And the grieving process, of course, differs for different people. But she really, you know, she was literally recovering in the hospital for a good chunk of, you know, the post Joel death situation. So yeah, she hasn't really even had time to process everything because she was too busy trying not to die. And so yeah, it's a lot. And unfortunately, because she's got this belief system that she's got to act strong, it's just not needed, right? She needs to let that grief out, because that is one of the reasons she is so angry. Like, yes, obviously how Joel died and feeling weak and powerless in that moment when he was killed, that is all validly why she's angry too. But what also is fueling it is, you know, we've all heard about the 5 stages of grief. She's not allowing herself to just go through the she's not in the acceptance part, right? She knows logically that Joel is dead, but she's not really accepted it yet. And because she hasn't done the acceptance, which would include the sadness and just the unimaginable, you know, grief, really. Because she's not allowing herself to feel that, it's being channeled into her anger. Because it hurts less, if we're being 100, right? The anger is easier than the pain. So yeah, that's why she's walking around like a ticking time bomb with the fake smiles and the kind of real grimacing more than really grinning at people. And yeah, of course, Gail sees it. And we see that even Jesse sees it. And she's just doing her best to pretend that it's not that, because she knows that if she looks too crazy, people are going to think that she's not going to be logical about this, which she's not at this point. But anyway, I really loved how when Jesse had her boxing, which was a good thing, like it was an outlet for her to get some of that energy out. But then when he told her, look, you know, the best advice I can give you for the council is that you need to write your feelings down, because if you go in there and just go off of raw emotion, you're probably just going to make people think that you're going to go out there and be a ball of crazy and that people are just going to die unnecessarily. And so thank goodness he told her that, because what she wrote was great. Like, I think we forget, because they really didn't touch on it outside of season 1, that Ellie is actually very smart. Like, she's head smart. She was in school for quite a while before she started getting in trouble with her bestie. And she was actually lining up to be a pretty high-ranking person in that military. But anyway, she showed off her writing skills, and it was a decent speech. You know, what she put out there was pretty good. It was a good argument. But I think really what tipped the scales were a couple of things. I do think a handful of people just genuinely didn't want to do this. But what that woman who, you know, a few times before, I can't remember what her name was, but the one who went a few people before her with the baby, what she said was kind of the more logical thing. Like, no matter what Ellie said after that speech, it was going to sound a bit hollow. And like, she was right. Like, she's like, we're still rebuilding. And respectfully, Ellie, even though Joel's death was terrible and we understand it's the world to you, a lot of us lost our worlds that day too. And we can't just, you know, drop everything and send some of our best people out and, you know, on a revenge tour that may not be successful when we are down quite a few people and we're still also in our own grieving process and we're not ready to process losing more people. So yeah, you know, she's right. And it's interesting because I saw someone write a review of the last episode saying that they were, even though the whole Jackson raid, or what is that, not raid, the Jackson horde attack, it looked great and all that good stuff, they were saying that they felt like it took away from the gravity of losing Joel. And I don't 100% agree, but I see what they're talking about in that, like in the game, spoiler alert, by the way, if you are waiting to play the game, but in the game, there is no attack like this. This doesn't happen, right? Joel's death is a very isolated incident and it's super impactful because of that. And I feel like, you know, it's true. Like what happened in Jacksonville, the reason I don't think it's 100% true what he said, like I agree that making it like the whole town be grieving people, it did take away from the gravity of Ellie's situation. Like maybe there would have been more people, or maybe she would have gotten the yes vote if they hadn't also just, you know, went through one of the worst things they ever had. But the reason I don't really think it took the gravity away is because as an audience, we don't really know the Jackson people. You feel me? We don't really know those people. Like, sad, but I mean, they're red shirts, right? We have no idea. Outside of Tommy and his wife, we don't know any of those people. And frankly, like, it's not that, like, I saw a lot of people get killed, and I was like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know them. So, you know, I don't think the emotional impact was taken away in that way. Like, Joel is still Joel. He's who we followed all through season 1. And Ellie, we know her, and we know how she was affected by that. So, all that to say that I don't think it really took the gravitas away, but I agree that it kind of created the situation where Ellie asking for help seemed a bit trivial, and that maybe wasn't so fair. But really, I know why they did that, and it's just because, you know, Ellie was meant to do this by herself. Like, it's not supposed to be this big group thing, right? Which is a little bit reflective of the game. So they kind of needed to have a situation, I guess, where there wouldn't be a bunch of people who would want to go with Ellie for some reason. And so anyway, after that whole council meeting happened, and then yeah, Seth being the big shocker there, like that speech came from a very deep, I was like, damn, Seth, this isn't even about Joel. Like, you pissed at these people. You really don't like these people. Damn, y'all better check them sandwiches he made for you, because he's definitely spitting in some of them. Because where did that come from, bro? But anyways, Ellie's face when she's like, oh my God, but yeah, but oh, what, yeah. But anyways, yeah, so anyways, after the council meeting, I mean, obviously, I think that Dina knew, and I think even Jesse knew that Ellie was going anyway. And I have a sneaking suspicion that, well, yeah, actually, not even sneaking suspicion, it was kind of confirmed that Tommy knew she was going to go, right? Because that's why he went and found Gail and said, I think she's going to do something stupid. And an interesting thing about that conversation is that, you know, he was saying that he thinks that, bless his heart, that Joel rubbed off on Ellie. And that kind of is a little bit of an insight into the relationship between Joel and Tommy. We didn't really see a lot of it, obviously, last season. And, you know, we only heard about it from Joel's perspective. But Joel, in his mind, Tommy was somebody that needed to be wrangled and controlled. And he was always getting into trouble. And then Joel had to be there to bail his ass out. And then in Joel's mind, the Fireflies turned Tommy against him and pulled him away. And then we saw that when, you know, of course, when they met up again in Jackson, that Tommy basically said, like, no, like, I left because I needed to do my own thing. Like, we weren't aligned anymore and I had to live my own life. And in the game, they elaborate a bit more where Tommy basically says that Joel's violent way of life is the reason he left, was the main thing. Like, he didn't really want to keep living the life that Joel and Tess were living. He wanted to do something more purposeful. And so all that to say that it's interesting that Tommy feels like the way Ellie is right now is because she was influenced by Joel. And I was like, respectfully, Tommy, I mean, it's cute that you think that Joel has that level of power, but it's been 5 years. Like, you know, Ellie wasn't like a 2-year-old when he got her. Like, she was already a teenager, pretty much who she was going to be anyway. So I like that the psychologist at least gave Joel that pass and was like, nah, like nurture only does so much. Like nature it takes over for the most part. And Ellie is Ellie. Like she said, side by side, those two, they were already 2 peas in a pod. Joel didn't do anything to influence that girl. She was going to be who she was going to be. So anyway, Tommy, knowing that, knew that she was probably going to do something stupid like leaving on her own, which is what she almost did. But thankfully, like I said, Dina's saving the day. Dina's saving the day on multiple occasions. And I guess we'll dovetail a bit into the whole Dina situation as well, because I've been curious about how they're going to handle this thing with Dina, because in the games, Dina's not the person who's in the cabin with Joel. Another spoiler alert. But anyway, I do feel like she's going to feel I knew it was going to make her feel very connected to this whole situation, outside of the fact that the show did a good job in episodes 1 and 2 of showing that Dina and Joel have gotten very close. But the fact that she was there, and I'm sure she's done, the math and realized that Joel only cooperated because she was there, as in didn't try to fight back. So she probably is carrying quite a bit of guilt about that. So anyway, we see that she comes with cookies to tell Ellie that she actually knows all the names and where these people are from, potentially, because I guess she remember, I mean, kudos to Dina. She's got a great memory, because she was damn near dying of frostbite when she came into that cabin, but she remembered, because those people didn't say their names multiple times. She just heard them say them. Oh no, there was the introduction. That's right. Abby introduced everybody, but that was a one-time thing. And like I said, Dina was not really in her right mind. And then, of course, right after that, she had a gun to her head. So nobody would have faulted her for remembering nothing. But the fact that she cleanly remembered their names, and I have no doubt she will never forget their faces, clutch, right? But anyways, she sits there and tells Ellie that she's held on to that information because she knew that Ellie, if she had told her in the hospital, she's so impulsive and reckless that she would exactly have ripped out that chest tube and, bled to death on her way to the door. So, Ellie was mad at first, but she needs someone like Dina, right? Like Ellie is like Joel. Joel was just like that too, a hothead who would act out of emotion and then think about things later. And that's why Tess was such a good counterbalance for him for so long, because she was the thinker. She was the level-headed one who would, make Joel take a breath, right? Remember back in season 1, episode 1, where Tess, when Tess came home with a bruised face and Joel was like, "Where is that guy? Let's go." And she's like, simmer down now. She was like, breathe. We need to do this smart. Like, I need you to calm down, right? So Joel needed that tempering force, and Ellie needs that too, because she is all Spitfire and very much act first, think later. So thank God for Dina, making sure that Ellie got the clean bill of health before she decided to go on her very dangerous revenge plight. And then, of course, we see that after what happened with the council, Dina came in clutch again because she knew that Ellie was preparing to leave and try to sneak out. And of course, she was like, "Tell me the plan, Ellie, please. Just please, like I'm 5. You tell me what you're gonna do." And of course, she's like, "I'm gonna go to Seattle and I'm gonna kill her." Like, how? That's the objective. That is not the plan. So anyways, I love that Dina's like, "Okay, girl, let me just don't even let me show you how plans work." And yeah, Dina had it all done. She had the map, and she's had 3 months to be fair as well. But anyway, she had the map. She was like, "We need supplies. We need all this stuff." And yeah, thank God she saved Ellie. Like I said, even before Ellie left, she saved her, because Ellie absolutely would have died either of exposure or some other stupid thing long before she got to Seattle if it hadn't been for Dina. So yeah. Thankfully that came together. Seth turned out to be an unlikely ally, but thanks. And they're on their way, and they did manage to make it all the way to Seattle. The fact that no one's come after them yet says that either no one wants to send anyone after them or what. We haven't seen. We're going to find out, I'm sure, next episode what happened in Jackson once Tommy gets the idea. Another change from the game, which is interesting, is that in the game, Tommy is livid, right? For obvious, well, okay, again, spoiler alert. In the game, Tommy's the one who's at the cabin with Joel initially, and then Ellie comes later. So point being, this is why Tommy in the game is visceral. Like, he's just as angry as Ellie is. Let's put it that way. Like, he is so hopped up, ready for revenge, that his wife is like, "Are you okay?" Right? She's not happy at all. So interesting that in this version, he's way more calm. Like, he's much more focused on the community. He's not chomping at the bit to find them and get revenge, even though he was willing to go with them. But again, you know, he's got the community he's responsible for, and he's got his kids. So, you know, he's got more stakes, and I'm not mad at it. I'm just saying it's an interesting change. But anyhow, yeah, we have Ellie and Dina on their way, and they come across this, I don't know, I'm going to call them a cult. I really cannot remember if they were in the game. I don't remember seeing bald people with, but you know what? There was so much that happened in part 2. There was so much, and honestly, I'm not going to lie, I was very bored with a lot of Abby's scenes, so there might have been stuff in there that I probably just don't remember because I was watching it 2 times speed. But anyway, they've come across a cult, and this cult is talking about oracles, and they say they have to keep moving, they need to go to safe spots. They don't seem to have much in terms of weapons. Like, everything they have is pretty primitive. And yeah, like the mutilation, the self-mutilation is very interesting. But they were saying there was an oracle that they had, or a seer, but who had died, but they kind of immortalized her. So that's a very interesting thing. But either way, it sounded like they were talking about the fact that they were being hunted by the WLF, and we don't exactly know why at this point. But considering that they are a contingency of the Fireflies, and in season 1, we've already learned that certain areas, certain people who revolted against the military control, that some of those sects were okay, but a lot of them turned into corrupted, very twisted things, because, you know, they basically replaced one regime for another. And that might have happened in Seattle, right? Maybe these people were in Seattle and they didn't like what the WLF did to it. I don't know. But either way, we don't see much of them outside of the fact that they're clearly a cult, and they have the whistle signals that they use to get around. And yeah, we find out they got attacked, but we don't know by who. And whoever it was wiped them out, like everyone, including children, which in this world where people are in the extreme minority, it's crazy to kill a kid. So yeah, we don't know who they are yet. Could it be WLF? Maybe. Who knows? There's so many factions in this world. But anyway, so they come across these people, they come across the corpses, Ellie and Dina, and they attribute this to Abby and her group, which they really have no proof of. And honestly, they don't know if they still come out this far, because at this point, they're still quite far from Seattle. But also, they have to remember they're like 3-4 months behind them. So anyways, these bodies are fresh, is the point. They're quite new. But, you know, at this point, Ellie just wants to demonize Abby in every possible way she can, right? Because it makes it easier. It'll make it easier for this whole plot that she's got in her mind of taking her out as soon as possible. But yeah, outside of that, all we really saw was a lot of Dina and Ellie bonding, which is not a bad thing. You know, we know Ellie's got a fat crush on Dina anyways, and Dina was dropping hints the size of elephants on Ellie that it's a reciprocated crush. But yeah, I don't blame Ellie for being a bit, well, first of all, Ellie doesn't have a ton of dating experience, but also I don't blame her for but when it comes to Dina's a bit of a pendulum when it comes to swinging back and forth with Jesse. And, you know, their relationship is complicated to say the least. But anyhow, so that was basically them. They've arrived in Seattle, and so far they're kind of underestimating the level of threat. But like I said, I'm hoping that Dina's cautionary sense will kick in and let them know that they can't just go walking through the front door, that there's a lot going on there. We saw that Manny is there. He's one of the people. And as I said, I think that Ellie will never forget Manny. He's responsible for breaking her ribs. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens when those two interface again. And at least that'll be one person down. I don't think they're all here, though. I mean, Seattle's huge, though. Maybe they are just in different areas, but we'll have to see. But yeah, that's pretty much what we got as far as that whole situation. Was that pretty much all we had? I believe so. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. So yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see now as we're getting into the beginnings of the revenge arc. We have our first person there. I mean, we only have... Wait, is it 5 more episodes? We had 8 last season. Hold on. Only 7? Okay. That feels like it's not enough. Anyway, not many episodes at all then. We've only got 4 left, not even 5. So I feel like we're going to be busting through these pretty quickly. I don't think we're going to have to we're going to have the time to linger on these. My point is, if we had more time, we could actually do one character per episode almost, as far as her getting her revenge, but we really are not going to have that kind of time looking at it. Like they're going to have to definitely put they're definitely going to have to put probably 2 or even 3 characters in one episode, because the Abby part of it, at least in the game, the Abby part of it is quite long. And again, a bit of a spoiler, in the game, they do quite a bit of focus on Abby and her journey after this whole thing happens with Joel. I don't know if they plan to do that with this show, but I think it's important because if they go with the same outcome, I think that it would be remiss for them not to spend more time with Abby. So I'm thinking the next episode, we're going to possibly get a split episode where we follow Ellie as she enters Seattle and comes up on Manny. And then we're also going to get to see what Abby's been up to post Joel's execution. And I don't know, my prediction at this point is that we're going to see that Abby is not as carefree and light and happy as she probably thought she would have been after getting her revenge. So yeah, this was another good episode. I enjoyed that a lot. You know, it was a bit somber in the beginning, but like I said, this is getting into the part of the game that was a lot less dark. Or not dark, sad, I should say. Definitely gonna get, we're still gonna get a lot more dark, but less sad anyway. So yeah, I enjoyed the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please show some love, and I will see you in the next one.